Meanwhile, in New Delhi, Barack Obama remains the big headliner. His criticism of India in an interview has led to a strong reaction. Last week, he spoke about the state of religious minorities in India and how the tension may break up the country. This, as expected, has not gone down well with New Delhi. The ruling party, the BJP, is going all guns blazing against the former US president. They say Obama bombed 6 Muslim countries, while Prime Minister Modi has been awarded by 6 Muslim countries. The latest one, by the way, is Egypt. The Indian Prime Minister was in Egypt over the weekend after wrapping up his state visit to America. It was the first visit by an Indian leader in a quarter of a century. He met President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. He signed a pact on strategic partnership and was conferred with Egypt's highest civilian award. Here's a report. This is India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Al-Hakim Mosque in Cairo, an 11th century mosque with great historic significance. It was restored by the Dawoodi Bohra community. This community has had a base in India since the 1500s. So when Prime Minister Modi visited the mosque and interacted with the community, it sent a strong message. A response to those who question India's treatment of religious minorities and proof of India's centuries-old cultural ties with Egypt. Here's another picture that burnished India's image. Its Prime Minister conferred with the Order of Nile Award. This is Egypt's highest state honor. And as its recipient, Prime Minister Modi joined an elite list that includes the likes of Nelson Mandela, former US President Jimmy Carter, and Queen Elizabeth II. This couldn't have come at a more appropriate time. This was an Islamic country honoring Prime Minister Modi days after a former US president questioned his government's record on Muslims. In fact, this was the 6th Islamic country to award Prime Minister Modi, a statistic that his party is vigorously reiterating. But the visit to Cairo was about much more than this. It was the first bilateral by an Indian Prime Minister in 26 years. A short 2-day visit, but it ticked all the right boxes. From exchanging light-hearted moments with the Indian community to serious talks with the top leadership of Egypt.
He reflects the wise leadership, and for a big country like India, there is a great development in India. And also this reflects that he is always and continuously working there in India.
Once the grand welcome was done, it was time for business. Prime Minister Modi met Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. El-Sisi was also India's guest at the Republic Day parade earlier this year. The two sides have elevated ties to a strategic partnership. They signed multiple pacts, including on agriculture, archaeology, and antiquities and competition law. But before we understand what New Delhi and Cairo are planning for the future, we must know what they already have. India and Egypt go back a long way. They are among the world's oldest civilizations. One of the first references to relations with Egypt is from Ashoka's edicts. Fast forward to 1947. India had just become an independent country. Less than 3 days after that, India established bilateral ties with Cairo. Then there was a non-aligned movement, or NAM. The world was divided into 2 camps during the Cold War. India's Jawaharlal Nehru and Egypt's Gamal Abdel Nasser founded NAM. Post-2014, the relationship took another turn. India began proactively engaging with the Arab world. In the case of Egypt, the focus has been on economic ties too. Reports say more than 50 companies have invested more than $3 billion in Egypt. India is one of the top 5 importers of Egyptian products. Bilateral trade stands at over $7 billion. They want to take it beyond $12 billion in the next 5 years. But the thrust going forward will be on the defense partnership. India is looking to boost its defense exports, and Egypt is emerging as a willing buyer. From Tejas to BrahMos missiles, there's talk of sale and technology transfer. This will help India in more ways than one. Egypt is a strong military power in the Arab world, a member of the Arab League and the OIC, or Organization of Islamic Countries. A deeper strategic relationship with Cairo serves many purposes for New Delhi. And images like these send a message to its critics.